In WCEG.radio.com. My name is Ramona, and we are in Our Bilingual Place. We are the worldwide community empowerment group. And today we have Mr. Norman Carter that we're going to be talking a lot with him about the projects and the hard work he's doing in the community. You say disclaimer, the opinions and thoughts of this program are not responsibility for WCEG.radio.com. Also, if you want to watch us repeat our videos on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, now we have a new platforms on iPhones. You just need to download and put in contact with us, and also review the videos we have for you all, the community. Thank you, Mr. Norman. Buenos días.
Buenos días, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien, gracias.
Muy bien.
Qué bueno. Thank you so much for being with us today. And the question, please tell us a little bit about you.
Well, de mi vida.
Sí, un poco de tu vida.
I was a police officer for 25 years. Prior to that, I was in the Army for 3 years. And I moved to Georgia in 2000. Mm-hmm. And I've been here ever since. I worked for almost 18 years in the hotel hospitality industry in various management positions. And I retired, and then I really got involved in community activities. I took a position on the Snellville. I live in the City of Snellville, on the Snellville Parks and Recreation Board. And then I was appointed to the Snellville Senior Citizen Board, and then the Gwinnett County Parks and Recreation Board, and the Snellville Board of Appeals. Y ahora estoy un candidato por oficio de City Council in Snellville.
Yes, I told you before, I checked your portfolio, and it's huge on experience and also on different roles. So one question, what made you, because many people is called to do business and work on the career they work for, but what made you to get involved into the community? Especially, I know you, for your job and also your personality, you involve so many diversity around you. What made you start working and advocated for the community?
Well, I forgot to mention that I've been a broadcaster and host on WCEG's Issues and Answers for, is it 6 years or 7 years? Wow, unbelievable. But but before that, I was always involved in the community, especially when I was a police officer, because I wrote a book about my career, and I saw a lot of police abuse of citizens. I saw that when I was growing up, and once I became a police officer. And I had always promised myself to never forget where I came from and how the people in the area that I lived on, which was a poor section of the city, how many of them suffered because of police abuse. And so, because of things I saw in my childhood and in the military, I have always been involved in civil rights, in improving things for the community. And after I retired from the, even when I worked at in the hotel industry, and a lot of my subordinates were from Spanish-speaking countries. And I would speak with them because I understand a little bit of Spanish. And the prejudice that they had, run into, the abuse that they suffered because of their inability to speak English well, and a lot of the hardships that they were enduring just trying to earn a decent living for their families. So again, I did the best that I could to help them. But after I retired, and even now in my adult life, those things stayed with me. They're part of me. So getting involved in the community and trying to help people solve problems and to make life in my community better has always been a goal of mine. And that is why I became active on these boards that I spoke of earlier. And it's because of my actions on those boards that other people came to me and said they wanted me to run for the position of city council in Snellville, Georgia.
That's so great. And can you talk in a little bit about the content on your book?
Yes. My book is about my life. It's a little bit about my life in my childhood and those things that led me to become a police officer. But a lot of it is about abuses I saw, things that I did to intercede, to stop some of the abuse, to report some of the abuse. In some cases, I reported police officers who actually became criminals. And they did terrible things. And because I thought that when I reported them, that the supervisors and the leaders of the police department would say, oh, this is something that we need to change and we need to deal with these police officers. But instead, they came after me. And I suffered years of retaliation, lots of bad things that they tried to do to me, but they never succeeded in breaking me. I stayed on the job, and I'm probably one of the few police officers in America who reported criminal activity by police officers and stayed on another 15 years to retire. I even got promoted. But a lot of the things that, but I still suffered harassment after I left the police department. And I reported a lot of things to national news media and to the local news media. And that helped to change police practices in Philadelphia, where I lived, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, and other cities in the United States. And I'm still active in doing those things and in helping other police officers who report bad or abuses of authority within their departments, but who are suffering retaliation like I did. So I'm part of a group that tries to help those police officers keep their careers, and if they cannot keep their careers, perhaps move on to life in other careers.
Very interesting, and also a little concerning, right? Because there is so many problems, but thankfully, people like you are able to help and improve the system a little bit and put out, things that we all know that happen, but we really don't know at what level it happened.
Right.
few years ago, we knew about the abuse for police officers against people, civic people. What do you think is the problem? The problem is because there was a lot of argumentation that they don't want to give more money to the police stations, the police departments. What do you think is the problem? What do you think, really is make the force act like this? And
Well,
also, what the people outside on the streets can do or have to do.
yes. Uh, in my book, one of the things that I mentioned is that the people in all communities need to meet with the police leaders in their area. Have a meeting once a month or once every 2 months, where you can sit down and talk about problems in your community. Even here, I attend a Hispanic Latin American church once a month, and I'm trying to get those people to meet with the police chief here in Snellville because they have many, many concerns. And so if we can have these meetings with the people in the community and the police officers, the police leaders, then you can solve a lot of problems. But then if that isn't working, then people in the community need to go to their political leaders in their cities, in their state government, and in the federal government to find relief. And there are ways of doing that, and there are people like me trying to help. The problem is that because of unions, it is very difficult to get rid of bad police officers. It is very difficult. And even in my case, when I went for help to my union, they refused to help me. They took the side of the bad police officer. And that makes it very, very, very difficult to change things. But gradually, I think things are getting much, much better. I know that you see the headlines, there's still instances of police killing people unnecessarily or abusing people. That's still happening. I don't think it's happening to the degree that it used to happen. And I think that part of it is because new leadership is moving into police departments. You have more minorities, African Americans, Latino Americans moving into leadership positions. You have more women moving into leadership positions, and this is it's breaking up that old network that thought that the first priority was to protect bad police officers no matter what. And I think that's working. It's working slowly, and we will never, ever solve the problem completely, but we can make it much, 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 much better. And that's what we try to do.
That's great, and it's very true. Nothing is fixed in one day. It's
Correct.
slow, and then it is amazing that many people is getting interested and participated on the change. New generations are looking the way the system is and the way this what system they want to see. So that is so nice.
And also, it is very important for people of Latin American or Hispanic heritage, and for African American young men and women to become police officers.
Mm,
That's how we really make change. That was why I became a police officer, to make things better in my community. And we need to stop disencouraging people, minority people of whatever minority. Minorities are becoming a majority, but to, but we all need to do whatever we can to participate, whether we become police officers or teachers or lawyers or social workers, doctors. These are the ways that we make change, and we cannot make change if we don't participate in the system. You have to become, even if it's becoming a city council or a mayor or being active in your political party. That's how we make change. And that's what needs to happen. And I encourage everybody to speak to people in their family about participating in government, and especially in law enforcement.
Yeah, that's very true and very important. And it's a good start, a career. Is double. You're gonna do a career, but you also gonna make change. And
Yes.
it's the focusing on that, Yeah. So I have another question. Where can you telling us where is how people can participate and join you on the efforts for becoming a consul of City of Snellville? And also, when are the elections and how people can, participate in your team?
I have a website. It's www. Period.
Punto.
NORMAN 4 SNE L
L.
L V I L E punto COM.
Muy bien. Entonces, para las personas que quieran ayudar a Mr. Norman en su carrera para cónsul de la ciudad de Snellville, pueden ir a la website en su computadora a la www.norman4snellville.com. Y allí, si ustedes quieren participar, ayudarlo a él en su campaña, y no nada más en su campaña, pero también en la motivación de cambiar sistema, aprender el sistema y cómo manejarse o obtener alguna otro tipo de información, pueden contactarse con él. Thank you so much, Mr. Norman. And when are the elections for
Yes. Los elecciones empezaré a las 17 de octubre.
Okay.
In Snellville City Hall.
Oh. Es una semana, falta una semana. One more week.
Sí. One more week. Hasta el 20, no, hasta el 3 de noviembre. Las horas son a las 9 de la mañana y hasta a las 5 de la tarde.
Okay. Y para votar en la ciudad de Snellville será el día 17 de octubre al 3 de noviembre de las 9 de la mañana a las 5 de la tarde. Y como siempre les pedimos la participación cívica de todas las personas afuera, nuestra audiencia, ejercer el derecho de votar, votar con conciencia, revisar la información de los candidatos y pues ya solo queda a su criterio las personas por las que quieran ustedes que sean sus líderes. So the only note for everybody in our audience is to exert the right to vote and
Sí,
also review the information for each candidate. Make sure what kind of candidate you want to be your leader. That is very important. And in some point, sometimes people don't just quickly, pick up a candidate, but they don't review the career, the work they have been doing, the accreditation the person has. So you take the time and do that, because elections not only local, state, but also big elections are coming.
yes, absolutely.
So, Mr. Carter, because still, in minority communities, still is the taboo that people who can and may vote don't vote, because people say if I vote anyway, they're gonna choose someone that I'm not gonna vote. I go vote. So what you tell to that people? I know the mindset is changing for a lot, but still there is so many people. What you tell them?
Voting, voting makes a difference. Votes count. And in the history of the United States, votes have always meant so much that in some instances, people were willing to kill people not to vote. That happened with African Americans here. So votes mean something. Your votes are counted. Your votes are counted. It is very, very, very important. And when communities do not vote, they are ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And that means no changes. And this happens, this is why you have communities that are poor and stay poor, because the people don't participate in the government. And it's very, very important. There are honest people working in the polls. I used to work as a assistant poll manager. But the people who work in the election polls are very honest people. Your votes will count, and they will count, and your votes matter. And when people get votes and enough votes, they get elected. That's the way it works here in this country. There are people who are trying to take that away. That's why it's important to elect honest leaders who understand you and will support you.
Yeah, that is very important. And it's not only happening, it didn't happen on the past. Through history, I know women fight for the right to vote.
Yes.
African American community on the time for suppression fight for vote. And if you count the history for our country, Latino, Hispanic, people is killing to
Yes.
groups, massive groups, in order to not let people vote for a candidate. So just keeping in mind on that. And thank God, here we have that right that is protected. We just need to exert it. We just need to stand up and raise our voice. It's a way to raise our voice, And for those people who wants to check the status, if you are registered or if you want to register to vote, you can go to www.sos.ga.gov. Para las personas que se quieran registrar a votar, las personas que quieran checar el estatus, si están registradas para votar, vayan a la website al www.sos.ga.gov. Es importante ejercer nuestro derecho a votar. Ha habido mucha supresión para nuestras comunidades en nuestro país, en los Estados Unidos, en nuestra historia pasada. Entonces, es una buena oportunidad de empezar a levantar nuestra voz por medio de nuestro voto. Thank you, Mr. Carter. And one question, I always pro language. I would love to learn another language, but, time and also capacity and things. How you got interested on learn Spanish? Because I know you say, we all say, we know a little bit, but sometimes we diminish our capacity and we know more than we think.
Yes.
How you see the interest?
Well, I, as a young man, a young child, I was in a special school, and we learned to speak Spanish starting when I was 12 years old. And also not just learning Spanish in class, but on Saturdays, we would go to the Boriquen, Comunidad de Boriquen, para tomar información, para hacer la vida de las personas más mejor. Información de salud, empleado, escuelas, y mucha información. And we did that for 3 years. And then I went to high school. I spoke Spanish there, learned Spanish there. When I went into the Army for 1 year, I had a roommate who was from Ecuador. And we spoke Spanish all the time. Different dialect than what I had learned in school, idiomas diferente, pero muy interesante. And after in my career as a police officer, I worked in communities that spoke only Spanish, and that helped me and it helped them. And so I have always had a special place in my heart for not just the Spanish language, but for the people who speak Spanish and come to the United States. I understand the struggles that it is to come to this country and not being able to speak the language. And I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Americans, when it comes to language, Americans are very selfish. They want everybody to speak English instantly. And English is among the most difficult languages in the world to learn. And most people don't understand that. And so it's difficult to come in and to aprender la lengua y los idiomas. Y es una cosa muy difícil. So that's been my goal, to help what little bit that I can to help with that. But I have always had the love of the language, and I embrace the people.
That's great. And it's very important, very important what you say, because for people who is not, suffering or in the place, is thinking that everything is gonna be easy and people must to do this, must to do that, but they don't understand that people have to take time, have to process. And for people who come from other countries, it's more difficult because people come, I always say, every person coming for other country for any reason has a trauma. And the main trauma is they have to leave everything. They have to leave life, part of life, and come to a new land. Is a big change. It's a big change. And like you say, we all hate to talk about some subjects, but we must to talk about it, because as more we talk about it, people gonna get consciousness on the new identity, the new reality, and for others, the struggles for that persons, So I always say, I feel bad to talk about it, but with all my respect, we need to talk about it.
Yes.
It's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
And
only way.
one thing that I remember is in my younger years, I delivered newspapers, periodicals, and many of the people that I delivered newspapers to were from Cuba, Mexico, Puerto Rico, no, they didn't understand English well, but they tried to read. They tried to read. And their children, they made sure that their children learned English. And because they were more concerned about their children than themselves.
Yeah.
And they wanted to learn enough English just to help their children move to the next step. And that's is something admirable about people who come to this country new. And it's not always about them. It's a lot of times it's about their children. They want to bring their children to a better life than what they had.
Yeah, that is very true. It's just, an improvement in all levels when the first generation come here, and then passing along to the second generation. But the first generation, well, I feel we always not have to forget that if we improve, our next generation gonna be improving too, and more. I can say for my community, more of the parents come to the idea to just focusing on work, putting the children in school, giving them everything to raise, right? Education, raise consciousness, raise, change life. But they forgot about them. They forgot about that we also have to learn. We also have to improve. We also have to get out and speak for ourselves, to empower our children. So, yeah.
Yes. One thing important, I wish I could say this in Spanish, but perhaps you can help me. Yesterday, I saw something on the news that said that there is almost a 300% increase in people of Latin American or Hispanic heritage receiving higher college degrees, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and doctorate degrees. And that is a greater percentage than any other racial group in the United States. Second is Asian Americans, which are about 200% increase and African Americans, it's about a 181% increase. But again, the biggest increase has been in, for higher degree education, has been in persons of Hispanic or Latino heritage. So that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, it is, and very exciting, you know. So, Mr. Carter, ayer vio un reporte donde él se fijó que 300% aumentó el 300% de personas latinas hispanas que tienen más educación en degrees han tenido. Y eso es importante saberlo porque esto nos da ustedes saben, abrir el camino a que más y más personas en nuestras comunidades empiecen a pensar más en la educación profesional para seguir adelante una carrera. Y pues, a final de cuentas, trabajes en lo que trabajes, en tu familia, alrededor de tu familia, haces un cambio y eso es lo más importante. Mr. Carter, we have few time, but I want for you to, what is the message you gave to the audience? You know, especially now that you are running for Council of Snellville.
Well, es muy importante verte, ver mi website por muchos más información. Pero empecé a hablar español cuando tuve 2 años. Y yo tengo muy siento
mucho
sentí para las personas que hablan español solamente. Trabajaré con nuestras inmigrantes de primera y de segunda generación para conocer sus necesidades y ayudar a resolver problemas. Primero, necesita para las comunidades de Snellville, para todas las personas, vivir con seguridad. Y necesita buscar la palabra for taxes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Taxes?
Taxes, sí.
Okay.
Yeah. Porque no quiero, queremos muchos taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reducir taxas.
Sí.
Reducir taxes.
And to ayudar jóvenes en las escuelas, cuando jugar, en recreación, ¿sí? Y muchas cosas para hacer la vida más mejor para todas las personas de esta comunidad.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Carter. Y pues yo repito el website donde pueden encontrar información de Mr. Carter. El plan de trabajo de Mr. Carter es ayudar a las comunidades que no hablan el idioma, también ayudarlas a la educación, a la primera, segunda generación para que agarren educación cívica y pues salir adelante. También una de los trabajos donde él está haciendo para su campaña es reducir las taxas para las personas y la comunidad de Snellville. Y el website es www.norman4snellville.com. Y para votar para las elecciones es del 17 de octubre al 3 de noviembre, de las 9 de la mañana a las 5 de la tarde. Por mi parte, yo lo que les dejo saber y siempre el consejo es revisen la información de sus candidatos, sientan qué es lo que ese candidato tiene para traer mejoras para su comunidad, para ustedes mismos, y pues ese es su criterio, es de las personas que ustedes quieran poner en el lugar de líderes para ustedes. Thank you so much, Mr. Carter. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all the information. You know, and I hope the best for you in your campaign, in your personal life too. And we're gonna continue working on WCEG Network. Thank you so much to the platform WCEG Network. And remember, you can watch us through your iPhone, in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and stay in touch. For those who ask me if I'm still doing classes, probably next year. So I'm gonna keep you updated on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
De nada.